So this is where we stopped, and the next step right now is to add a button. To add a button, a send button to this form, and I'm going to go ahead and do just that. So you come up here and open as a bracket project as usual. What we want to do now is to add the submit button to our contact form. So that when we click on that button after inputting our messages and our data, basically, when we click on the button, it will send it to a database. Come to your HTML, look for that form, and here's the form. Apparently, we already have that button created. Yes, as you can see, I created the button already, and this is the button. The button should have a name, MSG sub. Yes, so that's it. It means message submission or something like that, and the button type is going to be submit. Now we can go ahead and create a database, and then I'll also include a feedback. I like to use Sweet Alert. So let's just go ahead and create a database first. And before you create a database, I would like to introduce you to XAMPP. XAMPP is like your local server. Look for the free version, download XAMPP free latest version, click on this softonic, or you can just go ahead. These apps are third-party apps. You can just go ahead and to their official website, apachefriends.org. I think this is a legit site for XAMPP. Your system is 64 bits. You can download it here. Mine is 64, so that is why it's giving me all the options. That's 64 bits. So you download it and then you install. It's pretty straightforward. I already have it, so there's no need for me to do that all over again. And when you've installed it, I'll advise you to pin it to your taskbar so that you can access it easily. You always have to open it and make sure it is running for the action we're about to perform. As you can see, the Apache and the MySQL are both running, but the rest of them, you don't really have to run them in order to run your server. You make sure it's running, if not, it's going to give you an error. Now, we're going to bring our project. But before we do that, I'm going to show you where this XAMPP is located and where you can see the XAMPP folder. You look for htdocs and create a project folder. Now this is where all my projects are. This is where you're going to copy and paste your basic resume project so that you can be using your local server to access it and perform some PHP functions in them. This whole process is needed, is necessary. Now you're going to come up here and type PHP, localhost / PHP myadmin, because we are trying to create a database. So you go to PHP myadmin and you're going to create a new database. You call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call this one basic underscore resume. That's the name of the database. We've created our database, and for now we're not going to do much with this database. We just want a messages table. Our messages table is going to have, let's get seven different entities. ID is going to be there, so each message is going to have a unique identifier. If they do not have an ID, you might end up deleting the entire table, and you don't really want that. Then there's going to be the name of our user. We'll have an email, then the subject of the message, subject of the message, and then the message itself, message, then the date created, date updated. We need one more table to add one more column, and that will be the status. This is just the default way of creating a database table. Now this number, this figure means the length of the values. Now status is going to be active or inactive, so 20 is enough to contain all the values for active or inactive. Active is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Actually 20 is too much. Let's not make it too much. Let's just leave it like this anyways. Varchar is going to be the date. Du is going to be the date updated, and it's going to be a varchar because it's basically a string. Although it's a date, but we're going to treat it as a string. 20 is in a date format. Date created is also a date format. We use a varchar for that as well. 20. The message, I'm going to give it text because I want the amount of characters we use for the message to be limitless, really. And then subject shouldn't be much. It shouldn't be more than 40 characters, really. Let's use 40. And then the email should be 20, or let's just give it 40. Then the name, varchar as well, and it's going to be 20. And ID is going to be an integer because it's basically numbers, and it's going to be auto increment. That means it's going to increase as the number of columns, or the number of rows keeps increasing. So this is basically how to create a database table. So what we're going to do now is copy your project folder and paste it in that htdocs that I showed you initially. Then you create a folder, projects. This is where you're going to paste your project. I already pasted mine here, so I'm going to delete this one and repaste it again for the purpose of this video. You can see we have something to work with already. Now I'm going to close this and reopen it. Now when I open it as a brackets folder, what I'm going to do now is to change the name from index.html to index.php. We're now in development mode, so get ready for a few things you might not be familiar with. You create a new folder and name this ink. We're going to break down our page into different sections and then include it using PHP. Now inside of that ink folder we just created, create a new file and call it config.php. This is going to contain the configuration of our database so that whatever action we perform, it can actually be linked to the database. And then create another file, head.php. So what we're going to do now is localhost. I'm trying to locate that project and render it using our local server. Basic resume. Voila, we have our basic resume up and running. Congratulations on using XAMPP to render your website. Moving on, now we're going to break down this our web page. Whatever change we want to effect, it can be done uniformly. It's just like in React, how things are broken down into components. It's pretty much the same concept. Now you open your project. Remember we created this head.php file inside of our ink folder. Now we're going to copy this entire head to the top, and then you cut it. You cut it and come here and paste it here. When you come to your web page, you refresh, you're going to notice a change. You can see our page looks ugly. It's because the bootstrap and other dependencies that enable it to work and function well are not there any longer. Now we are going to include it using PHP. Come to your index.html and then open your PHP tag. All PHP commands are going to be inside of this tag. Now I'm going to include the head.php. Then you close. You come back, refresh, basic resume index.